Doesn't it feel like it takes forever to complete your research manuscript? Hi, this is Dr. Gia, and today I'm going to talk about the 6 subtle ways to complete your manuscript faster. Number 1, make tables and figures first. So even before you start running the analysis, make the mock tables. Draw out the figures on papers. That way, when the results come in, you just need to fill in the tables or ask a trainee to fill them up. Number 2, discuss results and discussion points with your co-authors before writing. You know what's the worst? Coming up with the paragraphs, making it perfect, then your collaborators disagree with your interpretation. Now you have to do a complete reframe. So one strategy is before writing the prose or paragraphs, make sure you discuss the interpretation of the results with your co-authors first. Number 3, outlining your paper using topic sentences. I'm sure you've heard this before, outline your paper. But the subtle difference is not to outline the topics, instead to outline using topic sentences. I'm going to give you an example. Topic would be like survival or primary outcome. That's too vague. What are you going to talk about in that paragraph? A topic sentence would sound like this. Intervention A is associated with improved survival. Now, it is much clearer what needs to go into the paragraph. What literature supports this finding? What studies contradict this finding? Once you have the topic sentences, you can assign tasks to your co-authors and give them directions. Number 4, separate out free flow writing with editing. Free flow writing and editing are different processes. Every time you go back and forth, you are doing something called context switching. It will take time to get back into the groove. So have you experienced this? You're writing a paragraph and you stop in the middle because you want a better word. So you pause to look up the thesaurus. Or you need some type of statistics. Example, you're wondering, what is the proportion of patients in this population who have diabetes? Again, then you stop writing, you start looking up PubMed to find that statistic. After an hour, you have not completed a paragraph. What I recommend is to use a placeholder. You just write and write and write. The sentences do not need to be perfect. The words do not need to be perfect. Do not look up references. Do not pause to look up the thesaurus. Instead, use a placeholder. For example, despite these new treatments, X% of patients develop kidney failure. Shortening, I need a better word, their survival. Reference. In point number 4, we were talking about separating the different types of writing, free flow versus editing, but you can do that for other tasks as well. So the first thing to consider is conducting literature review based on the goal. For example, when you're writing the introduction section, you can perform literature review specifically to look for the research gap or a particular statistics. Then when you are doing your discussion section, you conduct another literature review to look for studies that are supporting or disagreeing with your argument. Next, editing tasks can also be broken down into stages. When we are editing, sometimes we are trying to do too much at one time, trying to craft a story, making the sentence perfect, moving paragraphs, fixing numbers. Editing in stages make it more efficient and comprehensive. So first, start with the paragraphs. Arrange the paragraphs to make sure that the message is clear and that your paragraphs flow well. Once you're happy with that, then you can start editing the work at the level of the sentence. Here, you can try to make it more concise, or you can change the sentence structure to make the message clearer. Finally, edit your work at the level of the words. Choose a more precise word, or make sure the abbreviations throughout the whole paper are accurate, and so on. I know conducting a research project is an overwhelming process, so I made the Idea to Paper blueprint for you. This blueprint takes you through a 7-step process from the idea generation to paper submission. So be sure to get a copy by clicking the link below. Number 6. Here, delegating is really powerful. But before you delegate, you need to know the skills of your collaborators. Academic writing is a complex skill, so it takes more than just good intention and drive. In my opinion, the introduction and the discussion section are the most difficult part to write because you need to frame the arguments, provide evidence, and persuade the reviewers how your research changes the field. So if you have experienced academic writers in your team, great, split the work. And at the end, you can go through the whole thing again. But do not delegate the introduction section or discussion section to someone who is inexperienced. Because if you do, you will get an introduction section that is just a broad literature review instead of a persuasive introduction of the research gap and how your research aims to solve a problem. Or in the discussion section, it will just be a summary of other studies that do not really tie back to your results. Now, what if you have trainees or inexperienced academic writers in your team? What can you delegate to them? They usually really want to contribute and be part of the project. One thing you can let them do is formatting tables or filling in the tables. After you get the raw results, you can ask a medical student or resident to fill in the mock tables that you have created before. Or if you have multiple small tables, you may want them to combine it into one table. If you want a particular format, show them examples of how you like the tables formatted. Refer them to old manuscripts or previous journals. Another thing you can delegate is performing literature search. Here, be very specific. Tell them you want prevalence of kidney failure from 1998 to 2020. You actually have to show them, coach them. Tell them where to find the journals, the type of journals you want, and which section to get the data from. If not, if you don't give them enough guidance, they may get information from the secondary sources and you will be disappointed. Another task to delegate, checking to make sure the numbers and tables match the manuscript or checking figure numbers. Some of you may feel bad delegating these tasks. Remember, they want to contribute to your paper. Also, they are learning a valuable skill, the actual process of manuscript writing. They get to see what it takes to bring a rough draft to a final manuscript. Before you delegate the task, let them know the importance of what they are doing and that in the future they will be able to spot the difference between a good manuscript compared to sloppy work. If you like this video, please subscribe and share it with a friend. I'll see you in the next video.